All right, guys, old blue cord back, and this is what we're gonna call the frustration video. So obviously the Jeep, the radiator went bad, and kind of was a bad deal for me because it was like a day or two. Well, maybe not a bad deal, but it was a bad deal because it was a day or two for me going on vacation, and I planned on going out of state. And we did talk about taking this vehicle, so the radiator going bad and leaking, maybe it was a good thing because it was better to do it right here by the house than do it actually in 2 states away or whatever. So that would cost me time and money. Breaking down on vacation is never fun. It kind of ruins the vacation. So we got over that, and I didn't really get in a hurry to fix this vehicle because I knew this would be a bear of a job. And one of the frustrating things, I'll try to keep this part short, one of the frustrating things about newer vehicles, and even something like the Sprinter vans and things that have been built in the last 10, 15 years, it's really hard to get literature or a manual or any kind of guide on how to do something. So I work in an industrial maintenance, and I work at a factory, and I've always worked industrial maintenance at different factories. And every place I've worked, we always have this whole wall of books or CDs, or now everything's on, a hard drive or something like that. But there's always literature and data how to do something. Whatever it is you're trying to take apart, whatever it is you're trying to diagnose, there's usually either an engineering step-by-step guide, or there's pictures, or there's engineering and pictures and all kinds of other stuff to help you try to figure out how to do something and do it faster. Because any kind of factory I've worked at, you have to fix a piece of equipment and do it quickly. So you want to be able to, do your job, but you also want to be able to do it faster, and sometimes faster than the other guy. I mean, maybe you do, maybe you don't. So this job I kind of tackled by just watching a few YouTube videos, and I'll tell you what, it's a pretty tough job, and most of the videos weren't that helpful. I don't want to get into it too much, but and the biggest part about this is this plastic nonsense. I went through with you. You're not unscrewing bolts. There's hardly any bolts that I've unscrewed. It's all plastic clips and plastic nonsense, and I'll go through that in a minute. But like it say with the old Honda, you got the old manual, and then you're like, oh, I want to change my fuel pump out. I don't know how to do it. Well, wham, bam, there's a picture, or here's one here. I just flip to it. Oh, I want to change my valve cover out. Here's the pictures. What do you unhook first? What do you unhook last? What? Don't break this. Don't break that. You don't get that anymore. And honestly, changing the valve cover out on that car is easy, but changing the radiator on this vehicle, not that easy. So it's got a little frustrating, and I think that we've lost that someplace. You should be able to get a manual, especially this vehicle is a 2015. It's 10 years old. They're not, the money's been made on this vehicle. Let somebody put something out on. Now, yeah, I've got the laptop. I've got it laying around here someplace, and I've got the electrical schematics for it finally, which is really helpful because it's obviously heavy with electronics, but it doesn't help you with this radiator setup. So I think what I'll do is I'll just kind of slide over to what I'm working on right here. So I bought a brand new radiator, and we'll just kind of slide down and look. So I bought the brand new radiator, and just like all these vehicles, everything's plastic and plastic clips. So the radiator, it mounts just like this in the vehicle, and here's the fill for it. Now this front part is going to be the condenser for your air conditioning, and you can actually see this clip here. You're just dropping something down on top of it and then clamping it here. And I've had a lot of trouble getting this out. We'll go underneath the vehicle and look at that. Now the other part is the big fan that mounts on the front, and this is actually very heavy. That also drops down too. But if you look at these clips, it's almost like it's made like a one-time, it's a one-time deal almost. Like you're dropping it down into this slot, and I'll tell you what, you're not getting that back out. I mean, I got mine out, but it took literally, I had to get somebody else with a second set of hands to pull this clip out of the way so you could snake the just the fan off this radiator. Now when I go put this back in, I've got a pretty good idea that I'm gonna just drop the fan onto the radiator and then drop everything in there. But it's just been frustrating, and like I said, if you don't have the book, you don't know the steps involved, it's gonna take a lot longer than it should. And I'm trying not to destroy the vehicle. I saw one guy, yeah, he got in there and did it in 4 or 5 hours. He broke every clip. He broke every clip and snap, and I mean, yeah, it's fun. It's one thing to get in there and completely break this clip off so you can get something off. But the next time when you go to put everything together, it's not going to hold. And zip ties are not really a long-term solution. They're trying to get away from vibration because obviously you can see it's rubber mounted, and it has to be. Aluminum doesn't like vibration, and you've got a tank that's crimped. All these new radiators are built that way. The exchanger's been the same forever. I worked for a company that made these, Modine, and this technology is early 70s at least. We made the fins and everything, so it's kind of fun. But yeah, in this case, you're really looking to get away from vibration because this crimp here is the weak link. I worked with an engineer that actually designed this plastic to metal in the early 80s, and they had like a 40% failure rate the first year. So on actually cars that were installed, I'm not talking about in testing. I'm talking about actual production. So there you go. And this is an OEM. It was Ford. I'm not gonna lie to you, but he doesn't want everybody to know that he's retired, but he still was like. And in a year or two, they got it up to like 89% or whatever. So let's look at the vehicle. And like I said, it's a tough one. So I was able to get down there and get that bracket, and you can kind of see I actually ended up bending it. But this what I'm touching is your exchanger for your air conditioning, and it is clipped on there. It is a one-stop clip. I may have actually damaged the plastic, but you can see where I've damaged the metal unbolting that. Also, this high pressure pipe has been a nightmare. We'll go down below, but I've actually pushed this out of the way and bent. It's bent. I don't know how you can lift the radiator. We'll get up high here. I don't see how you can lift the radiator up this way without bending this out of the way. And it's ridiculous how it runs. It runs as the crow flies in the engine compartment. I mean, look at it. It's stupid as hell. Anybody that sees that is like, what? Why would the high pressure run that way? Everybody else would run it along the inner frame and then over, but they run it so it's like you can't. It's like almost you can't even get your valve cover, your power steering off without interfering with this. And this is under pressure. I'm probably going to end up having trouble with my air conditioner. I'm just going to tell you right now because I've bent and pushed on it. So I'm close to taking this apart, so that's why I wanted to stop. I kind of did a quick video about taking all this off, and obviously this is in the way too. I'm surprised I've not broke this. It can probably be separated here, but the way it's put together, it's a one-time lock. The way the two pieces of plastic lock together, you'll destroy this piece. And if you destroy this piece, then you've destroyed your grill. And this vehicle, like I said, is 10 years old. I looked into it. You can get the grill parts, but you can't get everything. So it's already to the point, plastic is plastic. You don't want to be getting in here. You could get a Dremel tool and just cut this right out. Nobody's going to know the difference unless you open the hood. But it's part of the aerodynamic package and cooling. And I just don't want to destroy this vehicle if I can get away with it. So what we're going to do is let's jump down underneath. And of course, I went down there and dry runned it. And I've had this draining for literally days, 5 days. And then I just went under there and wiggled some stuff around, and then there's coolant coming out. So never fails. But let's get under there. Let me get the light. And I'm just kind of doing this live. So a couple things about the radiator, obviously pretty quick. Let's see if I can get the flashlight a little lower. Is you can see there the lowers probably already starting to seep. Now the crack is up above it's probably a little bit cracked on one of these brackets, but it's also cracked up at that upper bracket way up there. And again, it's mostly from vibration. And that's always been the problem with aluminum radiator. So if you ever put aluminum radiator in an old car, rubber mount that baby. And I'm just going to point. The crack is right where the pointer is, right there. But I also got seepage on the other side, and you can see it right there. And that's not from draining it. That's from something's leaking right there. So 10-year-old radiator, yeah, it's going to be tough. So this is where I'm kind of stuck at, but I'm kind of ready to go. I started pushing and pulling to get this up, and I had it. I thought I had it, but I noticed it was really tight. And this is the case of, again, you've got clips like this where the condenser drops down in there. Getting this bracket to go down and out of that is like impossible. So I actually got this side, but then if you look, I'm still stuck over here. We're still sandwiched together. And I still hadn't figured out how to quite get that out. So I started pushing up on the radiator, and I got stuck, and that's when I quit. So that's why this job is really taking kind of a long time for me, because if you get frustrated, you're going to break something. If you're going to break something, it's going to cost you money. So right now, I noticed from the top, I've got some kind of electrical connector, and I don't know what the sensor is. If it's ride height or ambient air or what in the frick is going on, is the clip is right here. And you don't want to start busting connectors off, because if you do that, to repair that, you probably have to get a new sensor, and then you probably have to repair the other clip, which means splicing wires and doing weird stuff. And a lot of these electronic sensors, they don't like splicing wires and soldered. You know, you're talking a sensitive, you know, you might have a sensitive signal there, and you could really screw something up. So I got to take a deep breath there, because I'm jammed pretty good. Good, you can see it. Here's the clip. And that's to hold the fan in. You drop that fan in, and then it's locked in there, and then that is in the way. So I should have pulled that off first. I pushed this hose out of the way a few times, and it keeps coming back. And I pushed this hose out of the way, and then it leaks. So yeah, me just pushing. I mean, man, I'm close, but you can see it putting pressure there. So this is where you want to take a deep breath on a 10-year-old vehicle where the plastic's starting to get brittle. I'm really lucky. You can look underneath this vehicle and see that there's light corrosion because I live in the south. You guys up north have got it. I can tell that this would be a major mess of a job. And then I also, like I said, you've got this second pressure line here. I've got it zip tied out of the way, but it's almost like it's like a one-shot deal. They drop this radiator in at the factory, and you just trade this baby in when it needs a new one. So I probably need to add a zip tie or something right here just to buy me a little room. I did, again, bend this pipe. It's in the way. Actually, you can see it. My finger can't even get in there. I had to do a little bend in there. It's kind of ridiculous. This was zip tied to the fan. There's a bunch of stuff glued to the fan that you need to snap off. You got rubber mounts down here. Yeah, your rubber mounts go on these little spikes. And then yeah, you got both sides, and then that's going to drop in here where my fingers are. It's kind of a little bit of a weird. This bottom does not come out. It's part of the frame. Yeah, a lot of the videos weren't that helpful. A couple of guys kind of like, oh, it's a 4-hour job, but I'm not using a hacksaw. This was a very expensive vehicle, so you don't want to really destroy it. But what kind of did make me mad is when I did I talked about getting the battery done. I took it to the dealership to do that, the key fob, something else. I told them I smell coolant, and I said, it's got a leak. There's something going on. Oh, we'll check it. Well, it's pretty obvious it had been leaking on this side, because if you look right here, there's all coolant rust, and there's coolant rust up there. And I had actually showed the guy the picture. I stuck my camera up there. I'm like, there's something leaking, and it might still be something else, coolant-wise. I don't know what this is. This might be power. They got a power steering cooler. Yeah, steering rack cooler, transmission cooler. So, and that's not that's rusty coolant right there. That's not just corrosion, you know, because you can see the rest of the vehicle. Like that side's nice and clean, so it's not from rainwater. That's from something. So that would have been really obvious if you just looked underneath the vehicle, and that would have been, you know, I would have took it to them. And let me climb out of here. Thank God for the air conditioning. It's a pretty hot day. So I would have been like, hey, you know, while you're there, just change it, because it's a pretty big job. Probably would have been $1,000 job. I heard the Mopar radiator's $800. Ridiculous, but so that's where we're at. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to set the camera back up on the tripod, and I'm going to see if I can't pull this baby out. So I'm going to kind of splice in this video with another one. But other than that, I'm going to just kind of log off here. And I want to appreciate y'all looking. Sorry this video took so long. But yeah, what a frustrating job. So keep liking and subscribe if you can. I know some of my videos don't pertain to Hondas, but obviously the Honda just runs where these vehicles need a lot of tough maintenance. So yeah, what a dang mess. Had to take all this out, got all this stuff pushed back. Yeah, hoses, belts. Yeah, give everything a good look over too. So let me go ahead and remount this camera. I'm going to hit the pause. Thanks again. And let's see if we can get this baby yanked out all in one trip. Alright, so we're getting down in the nitty gritty. Got my little... People wonder why I keep these old loudspeakers, because they're actually really good to stand on. But I'm a little out of breath too. So I got it up. I've got it up about this high, which is wanting to fall down. And I got it past my connector that was down there on that side, passenger side. So now I'm stuck on here, and this has been a real bear. If you can look, let's see if I can get it. I'm going to keep talking while I finagle. It's hard to get your head in your... As you can see, this line right here I'm pointing at, and I'll come out as the high pressure that goes to the condenser that's in front. You can see the pepcock is that black plastic piece that sticks out. I mean, I'm up tight against that, so I'm going to have to bend this pipe more. Like I said, I already bent this top pipe and tied it up. But now I've got the lower, and there's the high pressure cutoff switch right there where my finger is. So, yeah, what a fight. Not made to come out. They want you to take this whole thing out together and then maybe have the grill off and then put all that back on there. But I really don't want to render my air conditioning useless, because that's another $400, $500, $600 of goofing around going to the dealership. This Freon is a weird, I think it's a 1, 2, 3, 4 or whatever, so I don't really have any access to it. So it's a dealership deal or a pro. But I'm going to try a little bending on there, and then this should come out. But that's how much, I mean, I'm hitting here as it comes straight up. I'm kind of still tagged in there. I had to move, the light's shining down below, but I had to move more pipes. As you can see, that whatever that is, the low pressure hard pipe is dragging right on there. I don't know if that's the, yeah, that's still the air conditioning part. So yeah, it's a real battle without damaging anything. Like I said, I got down there low and I thought, well, I'll just break the clip off. I'll just break this clip off the old radiator, because who cares, right? Let's get down and look at it. This old clip on the radiator, this one right here, you can't pull the radiator down enough to get everything over the top, which I kind of ended up just going this way with it. But I thought, you know what, I'll just break this clip off. It's the old radiator, who cares? But I took a deep breath, and yeah, this one where that compressed the condenser, it's like a one-time, you clip that in there, you're clipped for life. you supposedly can push these little clips back out. Let's see if I can get a good, yeah, so you can probably maybe push both these clips out, but you tell me how you push both those clips out with something in front of them. It's just not possible. It's a one-time thing just for assembly. That's how new cars are put together. They're into speed on the assembly line. It's kind of the same thing here. really hard to get that out. Probably thinking about it, wouldn't have been that big of a deal just to break the radiator clips and not break anything else. But and then of course the film neck sticks way out, and that's kind of keeps you from dropping it down. I just can't see dropping it down past all that crap down there. I mean, it just sticks out too far. Like I said, yeah, cutting it off or something, but alright, so that's where I'm at. I'm on the driver's side, stuck. I'll get it out. I'll give you the update. Thanks a lot. Old Blue Accord over and out.